All right, guys, part 4 of 5 on my coverage of the new legislation Canada is proposing here, Bill C-21. This was just tabled. And so, guys, this is not an OIC. This isn't what we went through last May. This stuff is not all enacted right now. But it has the very real potential to be. So I'm doing this series. I don't really get into this legalistic stuff and this political stuff as a rule on my channel. But this affects us greatly, and that's why I'm throwing this whole 5-part video out at once. I wanted to break up the segments because, as you've seen in some of my previous segments, they've been kind of long because I've gotten into various topics on them. So I wanted to at least segment things to keep them reasonably focused, make sure that they're shareable, that most people are going to see them, and you guys are going, the community is going to benefit as much as possible from this. So I'm also going to say that this is brand new information. Plus, I'm not a legal expert. This isn't really my realm. I recognize I have a pretty large platform, and a lot of Canadians see my stuff. It's mostly Americans and international, but I've got a solid core of Canadians here, and this is out for you guys. So I'm using this as a platform to disseminate this information, to spread this information. My hope is that none of it is disinformation or misinformation. That is not my intention whatsoever. If I do it inadvertently, my apologies. Not looking to spread hype or fear or anything like that either. I'm looking really just to kind of sound the alarm, and the British are coming, that type of thing, right? So you guys, please make use of the comments below to keep this thing up to date. Post new sources and resources down there, because I want to keep this thing as updated as possible. I'm not going to release a new video covering this, most likely, unless some new major information comes to light or there's a lot of demand for it. So I'm just going to leave that as it is. So guys, please, again, be respectful and productive in the comments below. Let's make this a resource, and let's bring other people, or let's point to other sources that know a lot more than I do. Again, CCFR, Ron Tracy, Ian Runkle, I'm sure will have lots to say about this. His YouTube channel, so he's a firearms legal expert lawyer in Canada. So look at those guys for more accurate information. I'm coming at this thing early and just trying to be far-reaching. So that's and I'm not expecting to cover this thing in 100% detail either. So so I have an introductory video that kind of discusses about all this in general. And then there were my 3 meat and potato sections of this. I covered the grandfathering clause as well as some safe storage stuff in my first video. Then I covered the potential for airsoft to be swept up in all of this as well, whether intended or not, just because I wanted to give that community a fair shake. I think they're a very important, integral, future component of this community. And then this video is to talk about the talk of municipalities finally having the ability to ban or otherwise enforce additional restrictions on handgun ownership, as well as some additional red flag stuff and a catch-all on any other things I might have missed. This video should be a fair bit shorter. And then I'm going to wrap up with the final video, part 5, with whether or not I think this legislation will actually pass. I do think it will, or I do think it has a strong potential to, but I will talk more about that in that last video segment. So without further ado, again, this is not my typical content. I typically try to stay out of this stuff, but I'm doing it here because I think it's important. So if you guys want to see my typical content, that's the rest of my YouTube channel here. Just look on it. I focus on informational, educational, entertaining, and otherwise informative content on firearms, historical content and mechanical content on most firearms. So that's what you see on the wall here. I forgot to change the wall up for this video. I'll change it up one last time for the 5th video, but to kind of give you guys something different to look at, because I'm just sitting behind the camera here talking. So by the way, I know I talk faster. I'll just say this early here. If you guys want to slow me down, you guys can just hit that playback speed, hit it at 0.75, and you guys should be good to go. Otherwise, I'll try and make an effort to keep it consistent here. Anyways, it is 10:30 on a night here, and I'm trying to get this done, wrapped up, so I can post everything in the morning for you guys to get this ball rolling. So without further ado, let's jump in. So municipalities, like a lot of this is more of the same. Municipalities getting additional powers, red flag laws, like we've already had that. A lot of that was done in C-21. Of course, the municipalities having more power, that wasn't discussed. What's been discussed for a long time, it's never been an actual thing. And well, it could be. Well, it's looking like it very well might be. So they can regulate whether or not you're allowed to have or possess or use firearms within the city limits. I think there are some provisions in there. This will be the weakest segment of my 3. I looked into the airsoft thing pretty detailed, And of course, I'm a lot more familiar with the grandfathering and the safe storage stuff, so I talked about that in greater detail. So guys, I'm really going to say here, like, you're going to want to look at more options and more outside sources for better information on this. I'm merely sounding the alarm and trying to give a big wide funnel for all this information to be disseminated. So what I do know is it does sound sounds like there might be some exemptions. It also might sound like this might be pretty hard. Like this could be legally challenged. The way they referenced it was against, you know, our rights and things like that. But I think they used a similar argument, at least for when Quebec instituted their own provincial regulation on firearms with regard to the non-restricted database, again, reinstituting that. Now, I could be wrong. Again, this isn't my area of expertise, but I thought it was something similar. So I thought this could be also treated as something similar. Maybe there is, maybe there isn't merit to it. But again, I'm not the right guy for that. I'm merely stating these things. So that could be the thing. There seems to be fear of Vancouver, Calgary, the major cities supporting Toronto, obviously, supporting these things. I don't think businesses inside are. In fact, I think this is more just targeted at individuals. But I don't know the full extent. So we'll have to get more information out there on that. It does sound like, at the very least, safe storage could be a thing. They could be, maybe you can still use your gun or have your gun, but they'll have to be complying with the new safe storage laws, whatever they are. I talked more about that in part 3 of my videos. Or sorry, part 2. I'm all about this. I've had to, for what I'm doing here. I've got multiple safes, including this massive one that's built into a wall security system. I've done the whole 9 yards. But of course, I've got a firearms business, and I do a lot of stuff with a lot of stuff, including that Uzi up there. So you guys can debate whether you think that's DWAT or not, but as it stands, I'm full legal possession of it. And anyways, storage was, I talked more about it in part 2. So if you want to hear my thoughts around safe storage, you can get that there. So I'll leave it at that, but it does sound like that'll be potentially maybe the route some of these cities will go. They won't necessarily ban handguns, but they will make sure that owners are complying with the new safe storage in order to maintain, you know, ownership of them. So the red flag stuff, more of the same. It's looking to get more options for friends and family or other people to come in and basically make the claim against you that you're not fit to have your firearms and have them seized. So I know a lot of that stemming from spousal abuse, which is obviously terrible. I totally, you know, I'm obviously against all of that. I know COVID's been hard. It's probably ramped up a lot of that. But that's being used, unfortunately, as against us. So that's probably the basis for a lot of this. They're trying to get the guns out of the home because they think that they add fuel to the fire. They create a more dangerous situation, even just being there. So I don't know. Debate that all you want. I'm just trying to present the facts of what's coming forth from this legislation. Now, there wasn't mention of central storage. I haven't heard anything about that yet. And with regard to mags, I haven't heard anything again about the mag limit stuff. Doesn't seem to be anything changes there. The thing that they did mention was that modifying magazines to hold different calibers to get more rounds in or something like that might be a thing. Again, I'm guessing this is probably, maybe they're trying to finally wrap up the Bayo stuff or other avenues they're in. But as far as the pistol versus rifle mag goes, nothing on that was discussed. So I don't know anything more on that. There were some other small technicalities as well for unpinning a mag. Unpinning a mag is still very illegal. They've just increased the punishment for doing so. So check your rivets, make sure they're in there good. And there were some other things as well, some technical stuff, and some different people that get different amounts of authority in different circumstances. So those were finer details that I didn't find merit in diving into in this respect. But that's the meat and potatoes of the argument, Gary. That's the meat and potatoes of this bill. So I encourage you guys, if you guys care about all this, to look into it further. I hope I'm kind of feel like I'm petering out a little bit. I'm kind of doing all these videos back to back because I want to get them all out at once as one complete series. I'm not stringing you guys along on this. I want to just get this information out there so it can do its thing and you guys can use it to better inform more people. So if you like my content, please share. Please consider subscribing. If this is my normal content, if you're interested in the stuff you see on the back wall, go look at it. A lot of that stuff is its own standalone content on my channel. Shooting, disassembly, general overviews, fun stuff too, like top 5s. We do some fun stuff. Upgrading guns. That XCRM is decked out kind of wildly. there's a reason for that. There's a video about that anyway, so you guys can go check that out. And otherwise, guys, I'm going to pretty much leave it there. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's my other main social media at arm.and.gun. Hit me up on the DMs if you want. If you really want to get a hold of me, though, please hit me up on Patreon. If you have a burning question or something you want to run by me. I'm a busy dude. I've got lots of stuff outside of guns are my passion, my side thing. I do have a business revolving around them, but I also have a day job that pays it's my 9 to 5 that puts a roof over my head, and that's my main focus. So if you guys absolutely need to get me, hit me on my Patreon. I do make sure I get back to any messages. If you're throwing a few bucks a month at my channel, I'm going to get back to you. The DMs on Instagram get wildly stacked up, so I apologize if I don't get back to you there or in the comments on here below. I'll do my best to moderate them, but otherwise those comments are there, especially in these videos, for you guys to use as a resource. Please use them productively. Bring other things into the chat to keep this thing updated, get more information down there, and I'll appreciate that very much. Anyways, guys, thanks a ton. Catch you in part 5. Arm and Gun, out.